Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing my weekly video predictions for next week's episode of Fear the Walking Dead. This one will be for Season 1, Episode 4, which is called Not Fade Away. Okay, so spoiler warning, if you guys haven't seen my review for episode 3 yet, which was the dog, I'll put an annotation right here and the link in the description so you can go ahead and watch it. That's my in-depth review for last week's. This one we're going to be talking about what we think is going to happen in episode 4. So, just to recap real quick with episode 3, really enjoyed the episode a lot. Was my favorite episode so far of Fear the Walking Dead. Really felt more like a zombie apocalypse than what we are used to, as we're getting really close now to starting to see a lot of the death and destruction and just people turning into zombies, chaos, riots, military kind of going AWOL a little bit seemingly, or at least in this week's episode coming up, it looks like that's what we're going to see. And based on the promo and the sneak peek, which I'll put the links to both of those in the description. The description for this week's episode coming up, Not Fade Away, episode 4, reads, Madison and Travis see different sides of the National Guard's occupation in their neighborhood. The family tries to adapt to the new world. So it sounds like with regards to the National Guard, who we've seen roll in at the end of episode 3, Madison and Travis are going to disagree on whether or not they should stay with them, whether or not they should try to leave and get the hell away from them, whether or not these people are actually there to help them, or if they're kind of just there to clean house. At this point in time, with Fear the Walking Dead, nobody really knows what a zombie is. Nobody has any idea what's happening, and it seems like they're kind of there. They're not really sure themselves how exactly it transmits. From what we saw at the end of episode 3 with Madison and that other random National Guard soldier, they didn't specifically tell her, like, oh yes, it's the bites. If you get bitten, like Morgan did in the original Walking Dead, if you get bitten, you're going to turn into a zombie. Nobody mentioned that. So with regards to the National Guard, they seem confused themselves as to what exactly is going on and whether or not people are just kind of turning into zombies regularly, or does blood transfer has to happen, or do they have to be bitten, or what's the case? How does it transfer? How does this become contagious, and how do people turn? And also with the Walking Dead type of zombies, you don't necessarily have to be bitten in order to turn. If you die, you will also turn, which is kind of the way the Walking Dead universe works. So that could further even, make it even more complicated for them to try to figure out, well, how do we stop this thing? How do we quarantine it? And they may just go through and start, eradicating people. So it's kind of this whole concept of, who's on our side, who's not. And the National Guard, they have their orders, they have their, program, what they're doing. Do Madison and Travis trust them? They seem to be okay. Everybody's fine, but you can see in the promo and also the sneak peek too. But in the promo, you've got Travis saying it's an old man and a kid. Calm down, relax, this kind of thing. Because it seems like what I'm guessing is the military or the National Guard, they're not. They don't understand exactly how it transfers, so they're kind of paranoid as to who's infected, who's not, and they have to be sure that each person is okay. Now, with regards to Mrs. Salazar with the broken leg type thing, how are they going to handle that? We'll have to see how they act with regards to that. That'll be interesting to see. And whether or not our survivors stay with the National Guard for a little while, whether or not they leave quickly and they try to get the hell out of there, or just kind of what happens with it will be interesting to see, and if they still want to try to make their way to the desert, or if they decide they're just going to kind of stay put. So it's interesting. I'm interested to see, what they decide to do in this case, and I'm interested to see where the direction of the show is going to go. Are they still going to try for the desert? Seems like that makes the most sense. But if the National Guard is trustworthy and they're kind of being very very reasonable, they're being nice to everybody and they're helping everyone out and protecting everybody, then they may just want to stay with them. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how that goes. But based on the promos, it looks like they may want to try to get away from them because it seems like they're just not really sure what they're doing. You've got one scene in the promo where one of the guys is smashing Nick in the face with his assault rifle or whatever, hitting him with it type deal. And you've got Madison there screaming Nick, at least I think it's her. So it looks like, there's going to be some big problems with regards to that, and it'll be interesting to see what happens with this kind of military side of things, which I didn't really think we were going to see. Well, I knew it was in the promos, but I thought they were just going to try to get out and then maybe on the way would run into the National Guard rather than right at home without kind of leaving. So we'll see if they still try to leave or if they try to stay. So the promo looks pretty good. I like it. You've got Daniel Salazar, Mr. Salazar there, and he said it's going to happen quickly. And I like his idea that it's basically already too late for these people to really stop this or quarantine this or take back the city or anything of the sort. Not going to happen. Good stuff. So I like that. In the sneak peek, which I'll also put the link to below, you've got Madison who gets down underneath a car, which is kind of cool. It reminded me of like Walking Dead Season 2, Episode 1, What Lies Ahead. Carl, get down under the cars. And they get down and, they hide. She's doing the same thing, but instead of hiding from zombies, she's actually hiding from the military coming through. She's hiding from some National Guard people that have the masks on and everything, which is pretty badass looking, to be honest. I always love that look for video games and stuff like that, like Call of Duty or whatever. They got like the gas masks and the suits and everything. It's pretty badass. It's a pretty cool look. So so that's pretty much it. Now in terms of what I think we'll see, it should be a good episode. I don't know if it's going to be better than episode 3. I'm excited to see. I like in the sneak peek how she's like looking around. There's just death everywhere. She's covering up from the smell, which makes sense as you would, because you wouldn't be accustomed to it. In the regular Walking Dead, I think at this point, they're pretty much used to it, unless they get zombie guts spilled all over them. Even sometimes when they do, they're a lot more desensitized to it. They're a lot more used to it than that. But in Fear the Walking Dead, this is regular world stuff. They're not even used to the smell of death, which, unfortunately, in a zombie apocalypse, there's really no getting away from. It's everywhere. So it should be a good 4th episode. Only 3 episodes left. Man, it's going by fast. I think we're halfway already through the first season. But that said, we had the break week, so we get through these 3. And before we can even think like, oh, man, the first season's over, this sucks, the very next week, The Walking Dead Season 6 premieres. So how's that? That's pretty awesome if you ask me. We're really not gonna miss Fear the Walking Dead, because as soon as it's done, it's like, boom, regular Walking Dead's on. So let's do this. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see the last 3 episodes and where they take us on this ride where we just really have no general idea or direction where the show is going to go. It's completely unknown, which is cool to see, a Walking Dead where you don't really know where it's going to go. You have no idea. So I'm doing the predictions. I was right about the damn dog. Great job, Trevor. You said there's going to be a dog in the episode, and the title of the episode was The Dog. Well, some people said there wouldn't, so there you go. So that's it for my predictions for this week, guys. Write yours below. Let me know what you think is going to happen. And if you like this video, please thumb it up below. If you want to help support the channel, please share, please favorite. And if you're new and you want to subscribe, go ahead and subscribe. Check out my review for episode 3. And send me your questions for the Q&A for this week. Of course, we'll do another Fear the Walking Dead Q&A, because there's lots to discuss about what they're going to do with the military and who's more dangerous at this point, the military or zombies. Interesting. That's it for this one, guys. We'll see you again really soon, probably tomorrow. As always, it's Trev. I'm saying peace.